Fury12, taxi, runway 30.
This is CLAW, making tape. Call sign Fury1. Flight 2 ship, mission is Escort, F-15, attacking airfield north of Pyongyang. I have 6 AM-120 and 2 fuel tanks. Mission takeoff time is 3:20. Fury11 tower. Request taxi. Tower, request taxi. Tower, request taxi.
Fury11, AG tower, position and hold. Fury11, AG tower, you're cleared for takeoff, runway 30. Lobo 21, AG tower, resume on navigation. Lobo 22, AG tower, resume on navigation.
Lobo 11, wind check.
Fury11, AG approach 360 at 14 knots.
Lobo 11, declaring an emergency. Lobo 11, inbound for landing.
Lobo 11, AG approach. Copy emergency, you're clear for immediate landing. Runway 30, rolling fire equipment.
3, 2, 1, go. Airborne.
Fury11, AG tower, resume on navigation. Fury12, airborne.
Fury1, Chalice, request picture. Fury11, Chalice, request picture. Fury11, Chalice, request picture. Chalice, request picture. Sentry, request picture.
Fury11, Sentry, 1, picture clear.
1-1, Sentry, request nearest threat.
2, all clear.
Fury 1-1, Sentry, request nearest threat.
Jammer.
Fury 1-1, Sentry, request nearest threat. Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury 1, Sentry 1. It's pretty quiet right now.
Switch side.
2.
Sentry, request picture. Sentry, request picture.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1. Picture is multiple groups. Nearest hostile, bullseye. 265, 80 miles, 16,000.
2. Go fluid.
2. Going fluid. 2. In position.
1, push point, pushing, float. Two, fence in.
2, fence in.
Jammer.
Sentry, declare.
Fury 1-1 Sentry 1, contact is friendly.
Sentry, declare nearest threat. Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury 1 Sentry 1, nearest hostile. J8 Bullseye 270, 80 miles, 25,000. Banshee 1 Sentry 1, be advised, threat aircraft. Bullseye 250, 80 miles, 18,000. Fury 1 Sentry 1, be advised, threat aircraft. Bullseye 245, 60 miles, 18,000. Banshee 1 Sentry 1, be advised, threat aircraft. Bullseye 245, 60 miles, 18,000.
Sentry, declare.
Fury 1, Sentry 1. It's pretty quiet right now.
Sentry, declare.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1. Contact confirmed hostile. ID is J8. Fury 1, Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 240, 60 miles, 18,000. Banshee 1, Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 265, 60 miles, 6,000.
Sentry, request picture.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1. Picture is multiple groups. Nearest hostile, Bullseye 270, 60 miles, 2,000. Banshee 1, Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 270, 60 miles, 2,000.
Two, attack my target.
2, you got it. 2, Fox 3 long. 2, Pitbull.
2, attack my target.
2, you got it.
2, rejoin.
Fury 1-2, on my way. 2, Banshee 1, Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 320, 50 miles, 6,000. Fury 1, Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 320, 50 miles, 6,000. Banshee, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 055, 20 miles, 6,000. Fury, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 055, 20 miles, 6,000. Fury, 1-1. Request permission to engage.
2. Attack my target.
2, you got it.
2. Rejoin formation.
Fury, 1-2. On my way. Banshee, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 075, 15 miles, 3,000. Fury, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 075, 15 miles, 3,000.
Two. Safe fuel state.
2, fuel state 90. Banshee, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 110, 2, going fluid.
Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 115, 15 miles, 3,000. Fury, 1, Sentry, 1, nearest hostile, MiG-29s, 2 ship, bullseye, 340, 80 miles, 26,000.
Two. Attack my target.
2, you got it. 2, toss 3 long. Banshee, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 135, 20 miles, 4,000.
Crank right.
Jammer.
2. Music on.
Two, music on.
Fury 1, turn cold.
2, pitbull. Engage defensive. Banshee, 1, Sentry, 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 150, 15 miles, 2,000.
One, turn hot. Two, clear my 6.
Break high. Engaging MiG-29, 11 o'clock, low.
Sentry, declare.
Fury 1-1 Sentry 1. Contact confirmed hostile. ID this MiG-29.
2. Attack my target.
Banshee 1 Sentry 1. 2. You got it. 2. Fox 3 long.
Left. Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury 1 Sentry 1. Nearest threat MiG-29s. 2 ship bearing 035, 20 miles. 2. Fox 3 long. 2. Pitbull. Banshee 1, Banshee 1-1. Engage. Target bearing 045, 15 miles. Banshee 1, 2. Pitbull.
Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury 1 Sentry 1. Nearest threat MiG-29s. 2 ship bearing 050, 10 miles. 31,000. Fox 3 long. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised. Hostile
Lock.
bearing 030, 4 miles. 29,000.
Lock.
1 Fox 3, clear close. Splash 1. 2, clear my 6.
Break high. Engaging
Shaft
MiG-29.
flare.
11 o'clock
Shaft
low.
flare.
2. Pitbull. Fury 1 Sentry 1. Be advised. Hostile bearing 045, 15 miles. 29,000. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised. Threat aircraft. Bullseye 310, 60 miles. 6,000.
Sentry, request picture.
2. Fox 3 long. Fury 1-1 Sentry 1. Picture is multiple groups. Nearest bandit bearing 045, 15 miles. 27,000. Fury 1 Sentry 1. Be advised. Hostile bearing 040, 15 miles. 29,000. Two. Pitbull. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised. Hostile bearing 035, 15 miles. 32,000. Fury 1, Sentry 1, be advised, hostile sparing, 035, 20 miles, 24,000.
Sentry, request picture. Sentry, request picture.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1, picture is multiple groups. Nearest bandit bearing 035, 20 miles, 32,000. Fury 1, Sentry 1, be advised, hostile sparing, 035, 20 miles. Banshee 1, Sentry 1, be advised, hostile sparing, 035, 20 miles. Two, in position. Banshee 1, attack target bullseye, 330, 120 miles. Fury 1, Sentry 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 025, 15 miles. Banshee 1, Sentry 1, be advised, hostile bearing, 020, 10 miles. Pave way. Pave way.
Splash, Mig-29 very high.
Paveway. Paveway.
Sentry, request picture.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1, picture is multiple groups. Nearest hostile, bullseye, 015, 60 miles, 26,000.
Package is egressing.
Paveway.
Two, safe fuel state.
2, fuel state 5, 5.
Sentry, request picture. Sentry, request picture.
Fury 11 Sentry 1. Picture is multiple groups. Nearest hostile, bullseye. 305, 120 miles, 25,000.
Visibility 10 miles out. Sentry, request picture.
Fury 11 Sentry 1. Picture is multiple groups. Nearest hostile, bullseye. 315, 100 miles, 25,000. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised, threat aircraft, bullseye. 315, 100 miles, 25,000. Paveway. Paveway.
Sentry, request nearest threat.
Fury 1 Sentry 1. Nearest hostile. J7's 2-ship. Bullseye. 315, 100 miles. 24,000. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised, threat aircraft. Bullseye. 320, 100 miles. 23,000. Banshee 1, Banshee 11. Engage. J7's. Bullseye. 320, 100 miles. 22,000. 4. Fox 3 long.
2. Attack my target.
4. Fox 3 long.
2. Attack my target.
2. You got it. 3. Fox 3 long. 1 Sentry 1. Be advised, threat aircraft. Bullseye. 325, 100 miles. 19,000. 3. Pitbull. 4. Pitbull. 3. Fox 3 long. Banshee 1 Sentry 1. Be advised, hostile sparing. 180, 20 miles. 11,000. 3. Pitbull. Banshee 1, Banshee 1-1. Engage. Target. Bearing 175. 20 miles. 9,000.
Two.
Banshee 1, Banshee 1-1. Engage. Target. Bearing 170. 15 miles. 9,000.
2, 1. Sentry, declare.
Banshee 1, Sentry 1, be advised. Hostile bearing 150, 10 miles. 7,000.
Fox 3, 2, ship.
Cowboy. Banshee
Very long.
1-2. Engage. Target. Bearing 160, 15 miles. 26,000.
Cranking right.
Fox 2.
Husky.
Cowboy. Banshee 1-2.
Check,
Engage.
flare.
Target.
Counter,
Bearing
counter,
140,
counter.
5 miles. 6,000.
Jammer.
Fox 2.
Two, clear my 6.
2. Stripping.
Caution.
Right
Caution.
high. Engaging J7, 6 o'clock, low. Banshee 1, Sentry 1, be advised. Hostile bearing 095, 10 miles. 25,000.
Sentry, declare.
Fury 1-1, Sentry 1, contact
Warning,
confirmed
warning.
hostile.
Warning, warning.